Hey folks, Scott Fisher here. And this month, you know what? We're just going to talk about doodling. We're going to take it easy. We're going to have a good time. And specifically, I'm going to talk about doodling on the back of Magic the Gathering cards. Now, I know you guys, a bunch of you know what a Magic the Gathering card is, of course, but maybe you don't know that they make these ones called artist-proof cards, which are white back cards. They just never printed the bag. This is what they use to proof the art when they get it in and make sure everything looks cool before they go through the process of printing on the back. So when they had a bunch of these left over, they decided, hey, maybe the artist would like these things, so that's what they did. They sent them to us. Well, when the players found out about that, they thought, well, cool, white back cards, why don't you draw something on the back of there for us? And it's a cool little keepsake for the cards that they dig, man. They put them in the binders, and it's a lot of fun to do these things, man. I don't have to take it too seriously. It's just a good time. It's a little party on the back. It's like a mullet. Anyway, business on the front, party on the back. So we're just going to talk about a bunch of these things. Why not? I'll take you through some of them. Okay, here we go. So this first one here is actually Coat of Arms. It's a card I did a very long time ago that's got a bunch of goblins with a bunch of stuff on this tiny little flag that they carry. And I sculpted everything on that flag in the car, like even the skulls, made it a Sculpey, and I sewed it to the painting. And anyway, this is me just drawing all that stuff that I put all that work in that nobody can see on the back of the car. So people could check it out. The red there is because I put a red LED in the eyeball of the skull. It's true. This is a moon folk, so this is for the Kamigawa block, and anytime I get a chance to do a moon folk, I like to do them. And usually with these cards, it's just an artist choice thing. I just choose what I want to draw, because otherwise I get these requests that you wouldn't believe some of the requests you get. So it's just easier for me to just be like, I'm so inspired to draw this for this card, and the fans are usually really cool with that because they're going to get their cool drawing if they if I'm really into it. This is another one. This is actually one called, what was it called? Zet Staticaster, and she's in like a super like a super action pose in the front of the card, and this was just like a just do a little portrait of her on the back side. Real classic card here, actually. This goes way back, one of my first cards ever, and it is, can you guess? Well, you can maybe know in a second. This will be a pretty big clue. There you go. Pretty big clue. And that card is called Incinerate. I was stoked to get that card because I used to play with it all the time before I ever actually worked for the game. Looks like we're going to do another Moonfolk here. So, it could be on a bunch of these cards. Usually I save a Moonfolk for a Kamigawa card. And in this case, the card was for Meloku, who's a pretty big character in the Kamigawa block. But again, I just wanted to do just a super ornate, super baroque Moonfolk with the cool tattoos on the face and the bunny rabbit ears. I love these things. They should bring them back. There you go. Okay, so what do we got here? Okay, so this is also from the Kamigawa era of cards. And this is 1/2. Can you guys guess what it is? You're never going to know because you're only going to see half of it. I'll be so impressed if you know what card this is at this point. And it's Time Stop, but it's only half of Time Stop. Micron. Pigma microns are what I draw most of the stuff with. Then I usually break out the Sharpies or some kind of weird, marker I picked up in Japan or something to kind of fill in the darks. If I really want to get that like hotness in the eye glow there, I go to highlighters. Again, these are just fun, guys. I often will treat them as warm-ups for my day before I actually start, working on the serious paintings. What is this one going to be? Okay. So this is a zoom in of a character that you don't get to see a lot of on the card itself, also from that Kamigawa wave. And I believe the card is called Disrupting Shoal. There you go. A little peek of her. I love drawing this character. I got to invent this character when I got to do it, the Borderland Marauder. And I just loved that I got to do a really tough woman, man. She would kick ass. And anytime I get to draw her, there you go. She's got a little chicken bone sticking out of her mouth there, like a cigarette, or maybe it's a finger bone. Who knows? From her enemies that she has slayed. This is not one of the more popular cards that I've done, but I did quite enjoy the painting, and it's just a weird character, man. Again, I got to invent this one. See if you can guess it. I'll give you another second here, if you know your magic cards. But this one is known as the Oversoul of the Dusk, and I used 2 different color pigments to do it. I wanted that scarf thing to be sort of transparent, so I used kind of a tan brown on it. I've had a long career doing fantasy art and stuff. You'd be amazed how few dragons I've actually done, so it's always fun when I get to revisit them, and I've done a few for magic, even though technically I don't think this is a dragon. It is a Hellkite, and it is the Borderland Hellkite, I think they call it. I draw this guy a lot, like a lot. Like, he goes back to Urza's Saga, not the card itself, I don't think, but the character. And this is Mishra, and a lot of fans want this artist proof. So I've drawn a number of Mishras, that's for sure. So I got to change it up every once in a while. Let's do a profile of him. Let's do a straight-on shot. Who knows? Broke out the highlighter again. Also using the different color on his face. So this is me just doing whatever I wanted to do. I'm like, I'm going to do some kind of Dragon Queen. It has nothing to do with the card itself, but it was a ton of fun to draw. That was, what was that card called? Figure of Destiny, that was called. My most popular magic card ever, happening right here. Maybe you can figure this one out. Breaking out the red might help you out a little bit. Sometimes they call him Skrillex, after the musician. But this is actually the Dark Confidant, and it's funny because I did not mean it to be Skrillex, but it's hilarious that people refer to him as Skrillex. I love that. Another Moonfolk. Most of these are drawn out of my head, but this time I did use some reference on this one. There was somebody on Instagram, they had a great profile. I'm like, can I draw that on the back of the magic card? And they're like, sure, go for it. So that's what I did. Got those bunny rabbit ears. Micron doing all the work almost. That is a marker I got in Japan, that black one there, doing a signing in Japan. And oh, I'm so going to be so sad when it runs out of ink. I'm going to have to find another source for it because it's a great one. Lately I've been using the grayscales, as you saw in the end, just to bring another value in. Just a cool samurai skull. Has nothing to do with the card at all. I'm just like, dude, I'm drawing a samurai helmet on a skull. That was the warm-up. It was great. I draw this character a lot as well. She was concepted by Todd Lockwood, I believe, as I recall, but I got to do card art for her. And she is Savra, the Queen of the Golgari. Sometimes I use the metallics, as you can see there. Use the Sharpie metallics, or I'll use the metallic paint pens, whatever. Nothing too crazy or special. I enjoyed painting this card, and it's fun to do just a portrait of the character. This is Isperia, the Supreme Judge. What do we got here? Could be my second most popular card ever, maybe. Definitely the top 5. But this is Serra Avenger. And I always loved the fact that her hand was so beat up that she had to strap the sword in there so she could just keep fighting, man. Good little grayscale marker going on. Another Hellkite. The creatures are actually much more of a challenge for me to draw than the humans or the humanoid characters. I've got to think about it. How am I going to fit them on here? Especially if you got that long snout like the Hellkite has and the long neck. It's like, how am I going to cram that on the back of a card? Here we have a more somber Serra Avenger. Just a little more reflective. Pulling her scarf up. After a tough day of busting heads. There's that Japanese marker again. Microns. A little grayscale action going on there with the brush pen. And this is probably my favorite painting that I did in the Kamigawa block of cards. This is a ninja character. Had a really fun painting too. I actually painted it in like a sort of a cross like thing. Kind of a fun original. Broke out the sepia pigment to do the face. Do that quite often with these, but they're just a lot of fun, man. Just goofing off, just having a good time. And this is going to be the Walker of the Secret Ways. There she is. And finally, we're going to revisit this guy. Every once in a while, I get somebody who wants 2 of these drawings at the same time. So sometimes I get extra creative. I'm like, oh, I'm going to tape them together and draw them back to back. So you're seeing 2 cards here taped together with me just drawing twins, essentially, of Mishra. And that's it, guys. So anyway, these things are just a ton of fun. Like I said, it's a great way to loosen up and get ready to draw for the day, or on my lunch break or whatever. It's fun for me to just sit around and have a little sandwich and just what am I going to draw? What am I going to draw? And I think sometimes when it's good to do this, whether it's for a magic proof or not, just to doodle and have a good time. Because sometimes when we pick up that pencil, man, we're just always taking the drawing like so serious, and like we put so much pressure on ourselves. And heck, go get a bunch of index cards and just do a bunch of doodles like this. I do that. You're never going to take it too serious. It's on an index card. So have a good time, everybody, and just keep drawing.